What's going on, guys? Aaron Goldsten here. So in this video, I want to talk about why sitting in silence and doing nothing helps me make 6 figures a year in profit. And if you watch this video till the end, I believe you will find that if you sit in silence and do nothing, it will help you make more money as well. You might say, Aaron, that sounds kind of weird. Because when you make money, don't you have to go out there and take income producing actions and take consistent amount of action and be proactive and use your brain and problem solve? And that sounds like all the opposite of sitting in silence, and I agree with you. But hear me out. So there's 3 reasons why people don't succeed in business. And if we look at these 3 reasons, first of all, we got to take a step back. One of the big reasons why people used to not succeed and make money was either lack of opportunity, because if you go back in history a certain amount of years, not that far, you will find that you were kind of stuck where you were at. So if you were a farmer, you couldn't become like a king, right? If you were like a knight, you couldn't become a king. If you were like an undesirable, you were like stuck as an undesirable. So we got rid of that. Now we're at the point where, definitely in the United States, the UK, Canada, and other countries, where you could start off with nothing, and if you do the right things and take the right actions and provide enough value to society, you can move up in class. The second thing was information. Back in the day, if you wanted to start a successful business, you might have had to get a mentor. The mentor might have been good, might not have been good. If you wanted to open up a shoe company and you became an apprentice for a shoemaker, they might tell you everything, they might not, because they might want to keep you dependent on them so you don't become their competition. So the correct information was very hard back then. Now, there's more information than ever before in the history of the universe. And not only is there more information, it's readily available and it's easier to access than ever before. There's courses, there's programs that literally can teach you step by step how to do things. There's Google, where you can search, if you have a question about something, you can search it, Google, for free. For free, because it fucking likes us. And because they make money through ads. But what they're going to do is Google's going to look at the trillions and gazillions of information out there, and it's going to pull what it believes to be the most relevant, accurate answer to your question and show it to you first. Now, not all the time, and there's talk that Google is now suppressing certain sites, but in general, you guys understand what I'm saying, right? So if that's the case, why isn't everyone rich? The opportunity's there, and the information is readily available. It's because of 3 things. The first thing is people's attention span is pretty much nothing now. Back in the 1980s, the average person's attention span was 20 minutes. What's attention span? That's like people's ability to focus, people's ability to pay attention, people's ability to stay focused on something. And the reason that's important is because if you can't focus and concentrate on something, nothing, you could have access to the best information in the world, you could know what to do, but if you can't get yourself to do anything because your attention span is small, none of that shit matters. So now the average person's attention span is around 5 to 7 seconds, because people's attention is getting pulled all over the place with social media and multiple things on social media and different apps and a gazillion TV shows, because people's attention is, oh, what's going on over here? What's going on over here? What's going on over here? People's attention is split, and literally when your attention's split, you statistically become dumber, because, not because you're dumb, but because instead of concentrating all your effort and all your attention and all your energy on one thing, it's split amongst multiple things. So if your average attention span is only 7 seconds, it's going to be hard to get anything done, because you're going to watch about 7 seconds of a video and then your mind's going to start to wander. Either you're going to get distracted, and you know how it is, right? You know that we all been in places where we know we're supposed to go through a training or take a certain amount of action, but instead we find ourselves scrolling through Facebook aimlessly, scrolling through Instagram, watching TV, and doing not productive stuff. So that's the first thing. The first thing is people's attention span is short. The second thing is people's energy. People don't have a lot of energy. People's energy is starting to drain faster. What's the problem with this? Well, it's kind of the same thing with attention. If your attention span, let's say you can get your attention span fixed, where you can concentrate on something for a while. Well, if you can only do that like a half an hour a day, and then you're tired, you're drained, you have brain fog, you can't think strategically, you're going to be tired and you're not going to move as fast as you could or get as much done. You know, if you're only doing, let's say, 20 minutes a day of productive work and someone else is doing 6 hours a day of productive work, well, we don't really have to be genius. Who's going to be more successful in that period of life over a period of time? The person that's able to do 6 hours worth of work. And one of the ways energy is drained is from a couple reasons. The first reason is if your brain's moving too fast, that does take up energy. If you can calm down your brain and slow it down, then instead of being in your head, having all your thoughts in your head and not being able to really feel the outside world, that can switch and you can then start to feel the outside world. Think about it. Have you ever been watching a video or reading a book or doing something, and then like 5-10 minutes later you realize, oh shit, I'm reading this book, but I started to get in my head and think about something. I started to think about something. And I got all distracted in my thought and in my head, and I wasn't able to concentrate on what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't able to read, I wasn't able to pay attention to the book or follow the program. So that's one thing. The other thing is, of course, health. So if you're eating bad food, you're not giving any nutritional value to your body, and that can slow you down and that can make you tired and give you brain fog. Bodies are like a machine, right? We have a car. So if we maintain the car and put gas in the car and change the oil, it's going to run and function correctly. If we started putting, sewer water in the car, it's probably not going to function that well. Well, your body's like a machine and it needs certain nutrients to be able to function optimally. And if you're eating junk food all the time, if you're eating sugar all the time, anything that goes in here has to come out the other side. Trust me on this, right? I know, I guess you could throw it up, but it's usually coming out the other side, right? So if you consume a bunch of unhealthy food or junk food or alcohol, your body has to exert energy to process all that. It's going to get zero nutritional value from that candy bar, the alcohol, the pizza, whatever it is. So your body has to exert a lot of energy to process it, push it out the other side. It's going to get zero nutritional value, so your body's exerting energy, but it's not gaining anything from that. If you can eat healthy and eat healthy food, your body will then be able to use that for fuel, and that will allow you to go longer, and that can help increase your stamina. The third thing is, so let's recap. The first thing we have is people's attention span is short. The second thing we have is people's energy level is, people get tired easily. People's energy level is short. And the third thing we have is that stops people from being productive is people have all these impulses. And it's hard for them to control it. Impulses are things they want to do. So maybe we've probably all done this as well. You might be able to relate to this, where you know you're supposed to do something, but you get this thought and you're like, I want to go get something to eat. Or I want to go get a drink. Or I want to go get some watermelon or some ice cream. Or, I want to go watch this game. And we have all these impulses of things that kind of give us a fake sense of fulfillment and gratification, and that could stop us from doing the work. We know we should be going through the training or taking certain actions, but instead we have all these thoughts that kind of control us and impulses. So what does sitting in silence do? Say, Aaron, I agree with you. I'm with you. What does sitting in silence do? Sitting in silence, well, let's think about it. Some people might call it meditation. Some people might call it just sitting there and doing nothing. But if you can sit there on a couch or a chair, have no distractions, no phone, no TV, and just sit there. And you can, for 10, 20, 30 minutes a day, concentrate on your breathing. Concentrate on the sensations that you feel. Maybe you can direct your attention to feel the feet on the ground, for example. Or when you breathe in, as you breathe in, you can feel like your lungs expanding. You can feel the air as it enters your nostrils. You can feel your shoulders rise as you inhale. If you do it for a little bit, you'll sometimes notice the temperature when you breathe in, the temperature of the air going in your nose is a little cooler than when you blow it out. And when you blow it out, you can notice the sensations of body coming down a little bit, the air coming out of your body, and the air coming out of your nose and what that feels like. If you can spend time doing that, you can get your attention that was in your head primarily. And we can get that attention that's in our head, and by concentrating on things externally, we can actually use our brain to get out of our head a little bit. And what's the benefit of doing this? What's the benefit of getting out of our head and doing an exercise like this? Well, it's three things. The first thing is it actually helps increase your attention span because you're focusing on your breathing. And if you focus on your breathing, you'll notice after 5-10 seconds or 1.5 seconds, you start to think about other things. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. I got to do this, do that, do that. There's all these other things you have to do. And then you can take your attention and pull it back, bring it back and focus it on your breath. By doing that, that in and of itself, that exercise helps you increase your attention span because you're using your attention to focus on your breath and you're consistently bringing your breath back. The other thing it does is it helps you become aware of the thoughts in your head and the urges you have. Because if you make a commitment that I'm going to sit here on this couch for just 10 minutes a day, I'm just going to do it for 10 minutes. Sam Ovens does it for 20 minutes a day. Sam Ovens made $30 million last year. I know David Kosciuszko does an exercise like this as well. David makes a fair amount of money. So if you say, I'm just going to sit here for 10 minutes, the whole time you're thinking about all these things. You got, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. And by not doing that, by putting that off for just till the 10 minutes are up, or however long you decide to do it, the 10-20 minutes are up, that actually trains you to realize that you don't have to give in to those impulses right away. You don't have to give in to those desires right away. And even though they might be impulses, you can kind of start to separate yourself from them. And by doing that, in the real world, when you have impulses like, oh, I kind of want to eat this junk food, or I want to drink this alcohol, or I want to go watch this game, it can help you start to separate yourself from those impulses because you've been practicing that 10-20 minutes a day, every single day for a while. And you may find that you'll be able to separate yourself when you're actually in the real world doing stuff where you say, you know what? I do kind of want to go to the store, but let me go ahead and let me go ahead and spend another half an hour working on my business. Or let me go ahead and spend another couple hours, or even maybe another 15, 20, 30 minutes working on this. And then I could watch the game later. I could watch the replay. It's not that big of a deal. I could go to the store afterwards. I could go get a drink afterwards. Or you know what? Maybe I won't have a drink now because you've been so aware and been able to separate your thoughts from your desires that you say, you know what? I know this alcohol thing's not good for me. I know every time I go drink, I feel like shit the next day. And you've separated your desires from yourself enough where you say, you know what? The momentum of that repetitive thought process and kind of desire for the alcohol, you separate yourself enough from it where you may notice you might be able to eventually break it, and you say, you know what? Not today. And then you wake up the next day and you're able to be more productive. And over time, you may notice your attention span gets longer. You start eating healthier, which just allows you to have a longer concentration before you get tired. And you don't give in to your impulses as much because you are able to become aware of those impulses and thoughts because you started the practice of the discipline of sitting in silence 10 to 20 minutes a day. So my challenge for you would be to try this out for 6 months. Try it out for 6 months, every day for 10 minutes. There's 24 hours in a day. And in those 24 hours, there is 6 10-minute time slots. Everyone can find 10 minutes a day. So you find 10 minutes a day, put a timer on, turn everything else off, and just sit there. And if you're intrigued in this, another book that can help out is Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now kind of walks you through the same process and can help you become aware of thoughts and impulses and help separate yourself from those thoughts and bring awareness to that as well. So his book is great, and he's also got great talks on YouTube. Just type in Eckhart Tolle on YouTube that you can watch for free that helps out with that. So that's what I got for you guys. Have a good day.